Not being right. Don't fall in love with your ideas. Get it right. Well, soccer's always been done this way, wrongly. FIFA got it right. The red card was atrocious. To a player, everybody knew it. And then they used the VAR review system inappropriately. The VAR is supposed to check the footage in normal speed. Slow-mo can be for offsides. But in intensity arguments, intensity debates, you're not supposed to use it. So soccer has checks and balances. They have referees. Then they have VAR. And then they have the FIFA disciplinary committee. The great advantage America had is there are days in between games. And we stood up and went, objection, Your Honor. You gave us a speeding ticket. We weren't speeding. And then you tried to confirm it using a camera instead of a radar gun. So you got the call wrong and the process wrong. Tradition and precedence can't trump accuracy. I've been on this for years. Be nimble, be flexible. You've got to get it right. So the red card was an atrocious call. You got that wrong. And then you inappropriately used the VAR system. So the call was wrong and the process was wrong. Well, this sets a dangerous precedent. No, it doesn't. Get stuff right. No, it doesn't. Don't worry about precedents. You know, this is starting to feel a little bit, let's be honest, 15 years ago, would there be this global outrage? No. This is starting to feel a little bit like everybody's a little concerned that not only have we closed the gap, if we win tonight, it's down to the Elite Eight.
Exactly. You know what genuinely gets under my skin? Witnessing people actively rooting against Team USA or refusing to simply appreciate what has been an absolutely electrifying stretch of soccer. That's what I find so utterly baffling. I scroll through the comment sections, and I notice these are not casual observers from some random corner of the globe with no stake in the game. These are self-proclaimed fans of various club teams. They follow the sport. They know the players. And yet, here they are, relentlessly dismissing Team USA, claiming they haven't beaten anybody of consequence, insisting they lack the mettle to go all the way, that they're deficient in this area or that area. And I find myself asking, what exactly are you doing right now? This is the World Cup. The United States is riding a wave of momentum. The energy is palpable. The collective mood is buoyant. I have no idea if this run will continue or if it will come to a screeching halt. But honestly, who cares? The point is to embrace the journey, relish the excitement, and simply have a good time. Then I observe the very same individuals voicing complaints about the officiating controversy, and I can't help but agree wholeheartedly with Colin. He is 1000% correct. 1000%. The entire situation should never have played out the way it did. However, at the end of the day, the right decision was ultimately reached, and that is the only thing that truly counts. As a fan, you can feel that sentiment when you watch NFL games or NBA matchups. You just want the call to be accurate, even if the correction has to come after the fact. Consider how absurd the situation with Major League Baseball remains. They refuse to retroactively award that perfect game to the pitcher who was robbed by a blatantly incorrect call. They dig their heels in and insist on doing nothing about it. They are still embroiled in that debate to this day. It's like, what are you doing? Just give the man his perfect game. Throw a massive celebration. Turn it into a special on-field ceremony. What is the hold-up? Every rational person knows it was a perfect game. Just get it right. Do it the right way. Utilize the eye in the sky more effectively, whether in the NBA or the NFL. That is precisely why Major League Baseball is now implementing the ABS system. We are throwing around a lot of acronyms right now, I realize. But with the ABS system in place, it is not flawless, but it is remarkably good. And through that process, we also come to realize something else: players get a significant number of calls wrong, too. And why is that? Because officiating is genuinely difficult. Perhaps we ought to start emphasizing that message more forcefully, that officiating is an incredibly challenging task and that everyone involved is giving it their best effort. Instead of constantly trying to paint the organizations themselves, whether FIFA, the NBA, or the NFL, or the referees as villains. Whatever the case may be. So, decisions like this one make perfect sense. you also want to witness the premier talents competing. This is the World Cup, for goodness sake. You want to see the elite players leave everything on the pitch and push themselves to the absolute maximum. That is why, when this whole debacle first unfolded, I declared that it is utterly ridiculous, honestly, in the year 2026, that a red card or the accumulation of multiple yellow cards results in suspensions within a tournament like the World Cup. That is preposterous. Because I want to see these athletes test their limits. I want to see the best players actually taking the field, and the current system is too fragile. It is far too brittle. There is an excessive amount of fragility built into the rules. I do not want to witness that. And people will say, oh, but there's no precedent for changing this. The sport is expanding, gaining popularity at an unprecedented rate everywhere, mind you. We have new technological advancements. We are introducing hydration breaks and other innovations. We possess better technology. We have all these various systems in place. Things evolve, even for a sport with as much tradition as soccer. Yet, the fact that I see so many individuals trying to tear this down and spew hatred toward it is baffling. I mean, I understand the reasoning behind their arguments because I know where they are coming from, but it is still absurd. It should not make sense, and it only makes sense for all the wrong reasons. It is quite ironic, really, to refuse to embrace the unification that this whole experience represents. The fact that you are still going to find reasons to disagree with all of this is simply insane. I understand why Buffalo Bills fans disagree with Kansas City Chiefs fans. I understand why supporters of Jalen Hurts clash with those of Patrick Mahomes. I get that dynamic. I have a bunch of Lamar Jackson fans directing their animosity toward me right now because I simply stated that Jaden Daniels was a superior passing quarterback as a rookie compared to Lamar Jackson. They fire back with, yeah, but Lamar was only 21 years old. They inundate me with a litany of excuses, and I respond, yeah, I never said there weren't reasons for the disparity. I merely stated a fact. They threaten to unfollow me. It's like, what are you talking about? Because I stated a simple fact? They argue the entire team was constructed around Jaden Daniels. No, it was not. I merely pointed out that Jaden Daniels was still in college when Lamar was a rookie. I say, okay, that doesn't change the fact that when he entered the NFL, he was a more polished and developed passer. That is simply a fact. Whatever the underlying reasons may be, it remains a fact. Yet, we cannot even agree on literal, verifiable facts. But again, I understand that because it involves opposing fan bases. This, however, is supposed to be the same fan base. We are supposed to be united, all pulling in the same direction, and we cannot even find common ground there. That is what is insane. That is what is crazy. People just want to disagree for the sheer sake of disagreeing. People just want to hate for the sheer sake of hating. And listen, disagreements are what make the sports world go round. If everyone simply nodded in agreement with everyone else, it would be a constant kumbaya. That is why it was so amusing when someone yelled at me, prompting me to make an entire video about it, again, concerning Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. They said something like, I forget the exact phrasing, but essentially, you just want a channel that has nothing but yes men, people who just agree with you. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me right now? Like, what are you even talking about? There is disagreement all the time. And I respond more frequently, probably, to the disagreements than to the people who say, you're so right. It is so delusional. Some of the hardest takes and videos to produce are the ones where I simply agree with someone because I'm like, yeah. You know, what else can I possibly add to that? There is no easy counterpoint. But I also do not disagree with people just for the sake of disagreeing. Sometimes people accuse me of reaching, of wanting to contradict Nick just for the sake of it. I'm like, no. I do not do that. If I agree, I agree. If I disagree, I disagree. But there are people who want Team USA to fail. They do not want to enjoy ride. They could get absolutely destroyed in this game tonight, and it would not change the fun and the optimism that was building up to this point. It is like I learned this lesson very early on, and it was because of my brother. I do not know, he just did not want us to be happy. We were watching a football playoff game, me and my family, with some friends and relatives there. We were all ecstatic. He did not watch sports, and he thought he was cool because he was not a fan. He was laughing when our team was losing or struggling. He wanted us to be unhappy. He wanted the team we were rooting for to fail and lose for no other reason than sheer spite. Not because he supported the opposition. Not because he hated the team we were all cheering for. It had nothing to do with that. He just wanted to see them fail. And he wanted us to feel miserable. And you see a lot of that attitude. You see a lot of that in sports in general. Which, again, I am not even anti that sentiment entirely. I really am not. Sometimes I can detect traces of that in my own perspectives, although that has certainly changed dramatically since I started making videos and since I began interacting with fan bases on a much deeper level than I did when I was obviously just a kid. I am a grown man now. But so, it is just one of those situations where observing the reaction to all of this, and I can understand other countries getting upset about this or that, but seeing the people who are supposed to be rooting for Team USA, and not seeing them support the team, and instead seeing them hate on this entire thing. It is like they cannot admit that this has been a resounding success for the world, mind you, let alone for America. They cannot concede that it has been so fun and exhilarating, and that the entire experience with all the tourists from all over the globe is absolutely, positively being loved. Not only do they love the country, but they love the people. I mean, that is what happens. If you ever hear people who have done extensive traveling, they always say, "Oh, the people. When you go to this country, the people are so nice, and the culture and the food." That is what you always hear. Oh, the culture and the food and the people. That is exactly what everyone is saying about America right now. Oh, the culture and the food and the people. Everyone is so nice and the food is amazing. And this and that. Yeah, that is precisely what they are saying. And it seems like that makes certain people unhappy. That makes certain people upset. Team USA actually winning and being an entertaining watch makes people upset. And when you listen to the actual soccer/football community, the actual people who are deeply invested in this, the professionals, the people who are on television, they all agree. They all agree that the whole situation with the red card and the suspension was ridiculous. The television referees, the analysts, the commentators, the people on pre-game and post-game show. The people on this program, on that network, that show, on that network. It was just universally acknowledged as ridiculous. This is not how it was supposed to unfold. And so, to not have someone who is a superstar and the current face of Team USA Soccer, to not have him there. To not have Holland, however you officially pronounce his name with his accent, or Messi, or Ronaldo, any of these guys, to not have them on the pitch in what is one of the biggest matches in USA history or for their own respective teams, obviously, would be a tragedy. It would be such a downer. You want to see the best players competing. That is what you want to see. That is why I also said that even the NBA needs to make changes. There was a scenario where Wembanyama was going to be suspended. And it is like, nonsense. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. You want to see him in the finals going up against the New York Knicks. You want to see Draymond Green in the finals going up against the competition. You want to see that unless it is clearly egregious. Unless it is clearly a case of crossing a line in that moment on that court, and it is a disgrace, and of course we have to suspend you. But if it is just a case of accumulating a few technicals because you screamed too loud one time, and the other time you got physical with another player in a completely different series who kept hitting you repeatedly, it just does not add up. The accumulation of it all does not make sense. It does not make sense. And that is precisely what we have in soccer, as well. I do not want to see Messi suspended. I do not want to see any player suspended. I want to see them play. I want to see them push themselves to the absolute limit. This is the right move from both the perspective of how it should have unfolded in the first place, as well as from the entertainment standpoint. That is what these all are. This is an entertainment company, an organization. That is what organized sports are. They are entertainment. If you are not entertained, then you are not watching. And if you are not watching, nobody cares. Go ask the WNBA about the last 30 years. Nobody cared. Nobody watched. Nobody was entertained. It is that straightforward. But yeah, seeing the complaining and the people who do not want this positive thing to happen is ridiculous. I mean, this is probably considered the biggest match in Team USA history. And that is amazing. That is awesome. You should be excited. For all you other fans out there who are constantly going at each other, I am a Josh Allen fan. No, I am a Mahomes fan. No, I am a Lamar fan. I am an Eagles fan. Oh, I am a Bills fan. I am a Cowboys fan. We all finally get to be on the same team. We all finally get to be on the same team. Do you know how awesome that is? Do you remember the feeling when you first went to a game and you realized that you were all on the same team? I still remember that feeling of going to an event and seeing that we were all wearing the same color. We were all rooting for the same team. We were all cheering for the same players. And it was just like, this is the coolest thing ever. It is like the ultimate feeling of connection. We are literally on the same team. It is amazing. And now you get to do that with hundreds of millions of people. You get to take that to the most absolute next level. It was awesome with basketball, and that was the thing. I did not see any haters. The only other haters for Team USA in basketball were people who did not know anything about basketball. And I do not even mean casual fans, because there are plenty of people cheering for soccer who do not know much about soccer. But these were people who were not actual basketball fans. They were not even sports fans. They just wanted the USA to no longer be the dominant power in basketball. They did not watch any sports. They did not watch football. They did not watch soccer. They did not watch basketball. And those voices were so tiny. Because the actual fans were so massive and everyone unified. Everyone unified. The staff and LeBron and KD, they all unified and they were all excited. And they loved it and it was awesome. It was so cool. And I see so much more kicking and screaming with soccer right now. And it is just sad, honestly. It is just sad. You want to be on the outside looking in. You do not want to enjoy the party. You do not want to enjoy the optimism. You do not want to enjoy the support. Again, man, that is all on you. And Hat says a lot, a whole lot, about you. Any of the other issues or things that you have about anything else, that is fine. We are talking about soccer. We are talking about sports. It is its own bubble. So is basketball. So is football. So is baseball. It is its own bubble. I do not care about anything else that is going on. It is just about support, connection, fandom, sports, athletics, athletic feats. That is all that it is about. Nothing else. There is no other statement. It does not represent anything else. It is just let us all get behind this, have fun, and enjoy the ride. Enjoy the experience. Enjoy the camaraderie. Enjoy the actual fun, my country versus your country. Those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the chaos ensuing about all of this right now? I mean, even the wording was so funny. They suspend the suspension of the red card. I was like, wait a second. What am I reading right now? But let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let us get into some discussions. Let us get into some debates. But ultimately, let us just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here. I would absolutely love to see you as part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we are really excited to be part of. I think we are all well on our way to doing it. Please. Do not forget to give this video a thumbs up as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.